The Snyderverse and the Arrowverse were the perfect storm. We already had it all. In 2012, we saw the pilot of Arrow starring Stephen Amell as Oliver Queen, a vengeful Oliver Queen. That pilot felt like a Green Arrow version of Batman Begins. In 2013, we had the release of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. We had the perfect storm, and WB couldn't see we had the perfect storm. The only problem with Arrowverse, that franchise shouldn't have been on television, it should have been in cinema. We could have had a Snyderverse movie released one year, and then an Arrowverse movie released in the other year. Imagine this, Man of Steel in 2013. No, think about this. Arrow, released in 2012 in cinemas, starring Stephen Amell, same thing, but as a movie. And you just make lots of Arrow movies, right? And then in 2013, you released Man of Steel. And the biggest mistake that WB made was trying to use the Snyderverse as a competitor to the MCU. That was never going to work because it was a contemporary, independent, artistic take on DC. But Arrowverse was the perfect competitor to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But you can't compete with a cinematic universe on television. So the Arrowverse could have been in cinema on alternate years to the Snyderverse in cinema. The perfect storm. It was all there. And WB didn't see it. For years, WB have been trying to replace the Snyderverse with a Marvel-type cinematic universe when they already had it there in Arrowverse. It was there. Yes, the Arrowverse got shit in the end, but it didn't have to go the way it did. I mean, we had a perfect Green Arrow in Stephen Amell. We had the perfect Flash in Grant Gustin. We had a Supergirl. We had an awesome Black Lightning. We had so many great DC characters, perfect castings. It was great. First two seasons of Arrow were outstanding. First two seasons of The Flash were outstanding. They had the crossovers. It was connected. It was literally the Marvel Cinematic Universe at DC. We had it all. And all we had to do was have Arrowverse movies and Snyderverse movies in cinema. You make it clear that the Snyderverse has nothing to do with Arrowverse, which is obvious. There's no confusion there. The Arrowverse continues. Zack's allowed to make his 5 Justice League movies, do his arc, and then walk away. And Arrowverse just continues. You could have even had Arrowverse and Snyderverse crossovers cinematically. It could have been so magical and so enjoyable. But WB are just so dumb, chasing something that they already had. We had it all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We had it all. People talk about restoring the Snyderverse. I'd restore Arrowverse in cinema. I'd bring back Grant Gustin as the Flash, Stephen Amell as Arrow. I'd find a way to do that. Because obviously he's supposed to be dead. Bring back all those characters. You've been looking at the wrong places to compete with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty much dead now anyway. I would make a very controversial statement and say Arrowverse is better than the Marvel Cinematic Universe as far as I'm concerned. So if we restore the Snyderverse, let's restore Arrowverse and have them take it in turn each year. A Snyderverse movie 1 year in cinemas and an Arrowverse movie the next year when there isn't a Snyderverse movie. Not 4 or 5 CBMs a year. What a dumb fucking idea Marvel Studios had. They over-egged the pudding and people got fed up and bored. But have one DC movie a year. You're still going to have Matt Reeves Matt Reeves can still do his thing. You can still have Constantine too, right? But that's what they should have done back in 2012 and 2013. We could have had the best of both worlds. Because guess what, boys and girls? We had the best of both worlds with the Snyderverse and Arrowverse. And you know what's brilliant about Arrowverse back in the day? It didn't really interfere with what Snyder was doing. You know, Snyder didn't have a Green Arrow. Now, I know Snyder had a version of the Flash, but that doesn't matter. They could have both existed. I mean, we even got a fucking crossover. Both actors doing an impeccable job in that crossover. How exciting was that? I thought it was going to lead into something. I thought we were going to get a Flash movie with Gustin and Ezra Miller. That's what we should have fucking got. Grant Gustin wasn't even in the Flash movie. That's fucking ridiculous, right? We had what WB have been chasing. But instead, WB went to James Gunn to give them the Marvel Cinematic Universe they've been chasing. And James Gunn has already failed because James Gunn is an egotistical nightmare. But I don't really want to talk about him. I don't really want to rot my brain cells talking about his fans or him. I do today want to talk about Arrowverse and the Snyderverse as a perfect storm. I don't think there can be anyone watching this video that disagrees that Arrowverse and the Snyderverse is exactly what we needed in cinemas. Think about it. Just think about it. They've been chasing that mainstream connected franchise. Well, we already had it in Arrowverse. It was perfect. Tell me you didn't enjoy those crossovers. Even the staunchest Snyderverse stan or hater would say Arrowverse did great fucking crossovers, but they were limited to the television budget. Imagine if they could have done what they did with a cinematic budget. It was all there. We had it. We had it. WB had it. And they didn't see it. And we can still have it. As I say, restore the Arrowverse, restore the Snyderverse. We don't need Gunn's DCU. We need Arrowverse. Arrowverse is known to the world, the mainstream audience. You could continue doing that. Yeah? You can restore the Snyderverse. It's all there. But no one has the vision. I mean, there's a lot of talk right now about restoring the Snyderverse on Netflix. I don't know if that's going to happen. You don't know if that's going to happen, right? We'll see what happens there. But in terms of Arrowverse and the Snyderverse, it all exists. It's all there. And guess what? Arrowverse has fans. Arrowverse has as many fans as the Snyderverse fans. So it can all exist with each other. It should have existed with each other. It did exist with each other. The only difference was Arrowverse was on TV when it should have been on film. When WB realised that trying to turn the Snyderverse into the MCU was a mistake, they should have said, ooh, Arrowverse is on telly. Let's start making Arrowverse movies on alternate years when Snyderverse movies, DCEU movies are not in cinemas. That's what they should have done. That would have fixed the problem they were attempting to solve. The problem they were attempting to solve was that they didn't have a competitor to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because you can't use Snyder's DCEU as a direct competitor to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It didn't work. It was never going to work. But I love the Snyderverse movies. They should never have been cancelled. They were great contemporary artistic movies. And the Arrowverse was perfect to compete with the MCU in cinema. And I can't believe there was no one at WB at the time thinking, the Arrowverse, that's like the MCU, isn't it? It's connected, it's bright, kids love it, adults love it, but they didn't see it. So that's what I would do right now. I would restore Arrowverse and Snyderverse cinematically. And believe you me, it would fucking work. There's so much brilliant stuff that you can utilize in cinema from Arrowverse. For years, right, DC fans wanted to see a Black Lightning in live action. We got a brilliant Black Lightning in live action. It's all there. It's all there to be done. You could even have, right, Tyler Hoechlin Superman movies. Now, I know they ended his story, but like they could kind of go back in time and show him at his peak, right? We had an awesome Black Canary, right? We had so many different characters from DC utilized in the Arrowverse. As I say, the Snyderverse is beloved. The Arrowverse is beloved. It's perfect. It's perfect. But these deadheads are not going to do that. It scares me to my very core what Netflix would do with DC. It scares me to my very core what Paramount would do with DC. We've already seen what WB and Zaslav have done to DC. They've made it underwhelming and boring. I never thought the day would come where I would despise a Superman film, that I wouldn't be interested or hyped up for the next DC movie. And that's where I am today. But if you give me more Snyderverse and more Arrowverse on the big fucking screen, I'm going to be hyped again. You would be hyped again. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this. Do you think that we already had what WB were looking for in Arrowverse and the Snyderverse, right? They could have both existed in their separate universes. It would have been fucking perfect. It can still be fucking perfect. Because guess what? Arrowverse and Snyderverse have got existing fandoms. You don't need to create new fandoms. Everybody knows them. Everybody would be hyped to see a Stephen Amell Arrow movie. Everyone would be fucking hyped to see a Grant Gustin Flash movie. Everyone would love to see Black Lightning again. It's all there. You only have to utilize it. This is how it should have been utilized in 2012 and 2013. You had it all. You had it all and you just didn't see it. It's insane. We didn't have to be where we were. We didn't have to decide. We didn't have to divide the DC fandom because we could have had it all. Because we had it all. That's the thing. And it doesn't take a genius to say what I'm saying. It just needs someone to see things with a clear head, like me. I see things very clearly because I'm not locked into one fandom. I'm a DC fan. That's who I am. I'm a fan of films and television generally. I want to go back to the days where we enjoyed our movies and television, where we felt a personal connection to these DC characters. Now, I didn't feel a personal connection to what Gunn was doing, what Gunn's done at all. I didn't feel a personal connection to Creature Commandos, or to Superman, or to Peacemaker 2. But Arrowverse, in the early days, I felt a personal connection to their Flash, to their Green Arrow, to their Black Lightning, to their Black Canary. It worked. I really enjoyed the Snyderverse. It was dark and compelling and climactic. Brilliant. Both versions of DC, in terms of Arrowverse and Snyderverse, fucking worked. You missed an opportunity to have Arrowverse movies and Snyderverse movies in cinemas, right? Back in the day. But you can utilize that now because people want to see that. People are demanding to see that. Now, New Hollywood may not like fan campaigns and fan demands, but we're your customers. We want to give you money. Why don't you want us to give you money? You're on your knees. You're on the verge of bankruptcy. Some of the studios and networks and streamers are already going to be bankrupt. We already know that. There's no hiding that. The streaming bubble has burst. It's over. Why do you think Netflix want to buy Warner Brothers Discovery? Because they know the future is going back to great cinema. There's money to be made in cinemas. Even though they're not making money now because the movies are shit, you make great movies and the younger generation and families roll back into cinemas. It really isn't rocket science. But the key to success and DC for now is restoring the Snyderverse and the arrowverse? Please let me know in the comments down below what you think.